All right, it's Friday, August 4th. This is an end of the day and end of the week SPY recap, and today we end up with a 3 bar. It took out the high of the previous day and the low of the previous day and ended up red to the downside. If we look at the weekly chart, this is, as we were discussing on Wednesday, which was a key breakdown day. This was the first week now we get a 2 down red week in a long time. You can see this whole ride up. Even these were just pause bars. We never really got a 2 down week. So now we have to look for follow through into next week and kind of see when this weekly chart begins to turn. It's possible it could have one day down and turn up. It's possible we're heading a lot lower, and we have a whole bunch of pivot machine guns down here on the weekly chart. You never know for sure, but there are some key areas to watch for, and we'll get into that in a second. But for now, the key to today was that it was a Friday, and that meant after these. Well, first of all, the key was on Wednesday. We had a big breakout of a key range here of 3 days, and I shot a video on that. That sort of got our weekly chart to the downside for the first time. So now we have a definite down bias. And then now we're ending up on a Friday here with this weekly bar very close to the lows of the week. So that's why this move up, which I'll show you in a second, was always suspect. And you're looking, and as I discussed on the recap video yesterday, some of the best trades are going to be moves up that fail and continue lower, because we're starting this new short-term trend until proven otherwise. So anyway, if we get to the 15-minute chart here and look at the pre-market range and what happened right out of the gates, first of all, it did start up a little bit towards the high of the pre-market range between the blue lines, but nothing followed through to the upside, and we got a big red bar to the downside. So I actually bought some puts in here. I shot a video. I scaled. Now, the thing was, when I'm buying the puts here at the top of this range and it's coming down, I still know we're above the halfway point of yesterday, and yet we're in a downward overall context in the bigger picture. So it's a little bit of conflict that way, and that's why you don't know for sure it's going to happen. And we only got to the halfway point of the prior day, and then we immediately reversed. So I scaled out and set up a no-risk trade at that midway point, just knowing, it's possible we hold there and start up. It's a 2-up day at that point. Maybe we end the week with a big green bar, and this whole weekly chart, is just a brief little pause, and we, closes with kind of a hammer bar kind of look. I didn't expect that at all, but I also knew to get there, we'd have to get, to our target right up here. At least our first target on the 2-up, which we weren't really getting close to. So anyway, I really didn't think there'd be any strong move up, but we also weren't breaking down below the halfway point of that bar. So on those puts, scaled out here. Then when it came back to even on the rest of the trade, I kind of just took a small gain overall, and I continued to watch it. I didn't do anything. If anything, there was a stock, I don't know if I can type in, Amazon was moving up nicely, and given that the market was kind of now having a red to green kind of move on a 2-up day, I bought some Amazon stock and did pretty well on that trade. But the SPY itself, I was just watching. It broke above the first bar high, and that looked like, okay, we're having a little move up here on the day. If you really wanted to try a trade towards the end of the day, once you saw it kind of break above the first bar high, if it had an orderly pullback and a second push up to test those highs, and you think that you're going to get a big reversal on the week, maybe you could have tried that, but there was nothing else to do otherwise. You didn't know for sure what this all meant. But anyway, once then it broke down, and then a big red bar hit. At that point, I kind of suspected we're not getting that orderly pullback for another push up on the day. I decided to buy some puts. I shot a video on that. And again, given it was the end of the week, this weekly bar was going to close red. That kind of leads you into next week a little bit. I'm not surprised to see this breakdown. So I bought puts here, and this was kind of the target. It reached it, and then it even continued lower. So that was just a type of trade, given the context and everything else that was going on, and just watching price action the way I like to monitor it. If I'm going to get a move up on the day, then I expect an orderly pullback and a second push up. If we don't get that, then either we're just going to hold in here for the rest of the day, or in this case, break down. So we break down. So anyway, what this all means is we have a 3-bar here. That's not really an actionable signal going forward. I think we'll test that to the downside. If we're going to get an actionable signal going up higher, it would probably have to be like a Monday 2 down and then a Tuesday 2 up. So in other words, a 3, 2 down, 2 up kind of play. If we get an inside bar on Monday, then I'd certainly expect it to go lower, because I still think this low is going to be taken out. But you could have a 3, 1 and then a 2 up as well. But in the end, I'm really just going to look for, if we don't get any of that Monday, then I think this weekly bar is going to start lower. We'll get into some gaps on this daily chart down here, and we'll have to see if we hold on the monthly chart and don't get a 2 down month. If we get all the way down here and get a 2 down month, then all of a sudden, we start, and it happens early in the month, we have an opportunity to really fill in some gaps down here as well before possibly reversing to the upside. But in the end, I'm still going to monitor this weekly chart to see the reversal up, and I'm going to look for signs of that. It'll happen on the daily chart first, obviously, but anything that, because once you have a pullback here on the weekly chart, if I go back throughout time, you can just see some of them just last. They make a brief, some maybe get a weekly one down. You go down for 2 weeks before you head higher. This one went down 1 week within the uptrend. Sometimes you get a little push down and then you fail and you come up. This was just a 1 bar. Sometimes you get, 4 bars down. So we can go, and in some areas when you get a down week, you can go 1 to 2 more weeks before you kind of hold and start up. So I'm going to really watch, this weekly chart here and judge a lot of that and look for hints on the daily chart that could be reversing. But until then, I'm just looking for short opportunities. This was a good failure day opportunity. The breakout was a good opportunity to downside. Now, given that there's no actionable signal, you'll still go short if we get the signal on Monday, but just know a little, short-term exhaustion risk. We'll see if any great, sell signals develop on the way down, where we kind of fail to kind of like today, you fail to go up and reach your target and you start down. That's always a great sell signal. But for now, I'll play the continuation lower and see, how much lower we go into these gaps. Even though it's kind of broadening action on a very short time frame, you could come down and try to maybe come up a little bit first. But either way, it's the downside, and we will see where the rest of the month takes us now. Again, until that weekly chart has any signs of failing and heading up, bias to the downside.